Hi everyone, this is Sketching Stuff, back again with another Let's Ramble. It's been a while since my last one, so I'm glad to be making another one. Today's video is about The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I'm going to talk about the game and my experiences with it, whilst I redraw some screenshots from the game. No, this isn't a review, I'm not a game critic, I'm just talking about this somewhat divisive Zelda game. Some love it, some hate it, maybe a lot of people hate it, but anyway, let's get on to the video. Also, it's probably a given, but this video will contain spoilers for Skyward Sword. I have mixed opinions on this game. It was actually one of the first Zelda games I played since I grew up in the DS and Wii era. Personally, I really like what they did with the characters and the story for the most part. Sure, it's by no means a masterclass in writing or anything, it's a pretty stereotypical Zelda story, but it's really cool to see the origins of the Zelda timeline. Okay, first I'm going to talk about characters. I really like Link's evolution from this sort of ditzy head in the clouds kid to a fully fledged hero who's willing to go through anything for the sake of Zelda and the world. I kind of wish they did a bit more with Link and his relationship with his Loftwing though. Like at the start of the game, everyone talks about how Link and his bird have such a special bond, and his bird is a super rare and special one, but other than flying you around and being captured at the very beginning of the game's story, your poor birdie friend doesn't really get to contribute very much. I do complain, but I'm not really sure how you give him more purpose in the story, since it seems like until the end of the game the birds can't land on the surface, so I guess it's just wishful thinking on my part. In terms of relationships though, I love Link and Zelda in this game. They're really sweet. They're childhood friends, which you find out through other characters in the early parts of the story, and the strength of your friendship and implied romantic feelings is proven by how you interact with each other. For example, Zelda sending her bird to come and wake you up so you don't miss the wing ceremony, her worrying you haven't trained enough to win, and her feeling like she can confide in you when she starts hearing the strange voices before she falls through the clouds. Finally, the interaction you have on the statue of the goddess after you win the wing ceremony. This makes losing her when she falls through the clouds more painful, and it seems more realistic that Link would actually care and want to go and rescue her. Obviously Link goes down through the clouds because of Fi telling him he has an important destiny and blah blah blah, but of course I'm sure he was motivated most by wanting to help and save Zelda. Speaking of Fi, I know she's probably one of the most divisive characters in the game. Personally, I like her though, her character and her design. Having this robotic sword spirit with you through your adventure, and she slowly starts to understand human feelings, and at the end when she says goodbye to you, she feels gratitude for the first time ever for being able to go on this journey with Link. It's really sweet. To me anyway. Also, she parallels Girahim really well, with her being super robotic and him being super flamboyant and out there. Next is Zelda. On her own as a character, she doesn't really get a ton of screen time to shine, but I do like what they did with her. For one, her design, both in and out of her Spirit Maiden attire, is really cute, and like I said previously, her friendship, and possibly more, with Link is explored better in this game than many of the others. I also really like the whole thing about her being the goddess reincarnated into a mortal body. I do sort of wish they'd done a bit more with it, like how it affects her when her Hylia memories start to reawaken in her. I imagine remembering a previous life's memories on top of her own would be pretty crazy, like you'd probably get a bit mixed up and confused, right? But overall, she's very sweet, and I hope that after the events of the game, she and Link were happy living on the surface together. I also really like a lot of the side characters, like Groose for example. His evolution from Link's bully to respecting Link. Like, maybe they aren't friends, but they do respect each other and recognise each other's place in the adventure. Also, his protectiveness of the old lady in the temple is very sweet, and his music is mwah, chef's kiss, amazing. Impa as well. Your first meeting with her, she's kind of unlikable, like Groose is, scolding Link for being late and stopping you and Zelda from reuniting. But across the story she begins to recognise Link and his potential, and when it's revealed at the end that she was the old woman in the sealed temple the whole time, you can see how she must have had tons of time to reflect and mature as a character as well. Finally, Girahim. He's one of the best parts about this game to me. He's flamboyant and fun, but he also feels threatening. He genuinely drives a wrench between you and Zelda multiple times throughout the adventure, and he almost achieves his final goal too. He's such a fun villain, and as cool as the reveal of Demise was, I'm kind of sad that Girahim wasn't the big bad at the end. The twist that he's Demise's Fi though, like wow, that blew my mind as a child. I don't have a ton else to say about him other than I'm a huge fan. He's super fun and a great villain. Secondly, I'm going to talk about people's complaints with the game, and there are a few of them. First off is Fi. People say she's way too handholdy and she constantly interrupts you to give you useless information, or information that is really obvious. In the original version at least, I do have to agree, she acts like a glorified tutorial NPC. It doesn't stop me from enjoying her as a character personally though. I do see why people don't like her. Next is the game itself takes a page out of Fi's book and stops you every time you pick up an item after turning the game off and back on to re-explain to you what it is and where it goes in your inventory. It's pretty distracting and it takes a lot of time away from actually playing the game. Fortunately, this issue and Fi's problem can either be dialed down or turned off in the HD remake I've heard, which is really good, thank goodness. Another complaint people have with the original is the motion controls, and I'm sort of inclined to agree with them. I struggled quite a lot playing the game, however I don't think that was helped by me being an actual child slash teenager with not very good hand-eye coordination. I haven't actually played the HD remake as I can't really afford to buy many games right now, but the addition of button controls is interesting. If anyone watching has played the original and the remake sort of side by side, let me know what you thought of the controls. How do they compare? Are the button controls better than the motion controls? Are they worse? I'm interested to hear what people have to say about it. The final complaint I hear a ton of people talk about is the amount of backtracking to the same 3 areas over and over, and also having to fight the same boss over and over. You know who I mean if you've played. And I do agree with this to an extent. I think some of the area revisits are a chore, especially the Pharaoh revisit, and having to fight that boss over and over is a pain. But some of the revisits are good, and I'll talk about that in a sec. I do like a lot of the things about this game. It looks really pretty for the time anyway, and the painterly style really works for the backgrounds. I think a lot of the characters and their designs are really expressive too. Link especially is probably one of the most expressive incarnations of the hero that there is, besides Toon Link, he's my favourite definitely, and expressiveness wise I think he's up there as well. Sometimes it does borderline on goofy a little bit, but honestly I don't mind. I think it's really charming. I also like a lot of the level design. I think Lanayru Desert is my favourite area personally. I do think that's a popular opinion though. The time travel mechanics and the cute LCD series robots. They're so cute, I love them. Also, the dragon in this area is the best one, in my opinion, due to the story you go through to help him out, and also the lightning round stuff, which gives you the Hylian shield. The Sand Sea, Skipper's Retreat, and the Sand Ship make the revisit to Lanayru really good. Like, the story that you have with Skipper and his crew, it's really sad, but the fact that you're able to save them after you beat the boss, who is kind of underwhelming, but it wraps up their story really nicely. And after you beat the boss, you can actually revisit the ship and see that they're planning another voyage, which is just so sweet. I'm so happy for them. I hope they have fun sailing around. Speaking of bosses though, they are a mixed bag, for me anyway. All 3 fights with Girahim, Koloktos, and the robot pirate on the sand ship are really good and satisfying to fight. Some of the others just feel okay, or a little basic, like Scaldera and Tantalus, but that's just my opinion. The dungeons are all solid though, like the designs and aesthetics are lovely, and most of the puzzles are fun and utilise the dungeon items well. Especially since you can use multiple dungeon items per dungeon, and not just the one you get in that dungeon. We're coming to the end of the video though. I didn't talk about every aspect of the game, but overall there's a lot to like about it for me personally. The story, characters, and dungeons are great, and the music as well. It's definitely not my favourite Zelda game, but it's fun to revisit sometimes. What did you think of my redraws? And what do you think about Skyward Sword? Do you like it? Are you not a fan of it? I'd be interested to hear some other opinions about it, so please comment if you'd like to. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for your support. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!